Hello everyone, this is Bruna and my presentation on life cycle nutrition will be about pregnancy. So, pregnancy is a period that involves numerous physiological changes in both the mother and fetus. Therefore, the energy and nutrient needs are increased, and it is essential that the mother maintains a healthy diet and lifestyle choices throughout the whole pregnancy. If so, this will lead to optimal growth, development, and well-being of both. Now, some of the general recommendations from the Academy of Nutrition Dietetics, which can also be found in many different websites online, as well as in websites from organizations such as CDC and WHO. First, on weight. So, pregnant women should not try to gain or lose weight. It is true that obese pregnant women are at increased risk for high blood pressure, gestational diabetes, preeclampsia, prolonged labor, and difficulty in breastfeeding. On the other hand, lean women with a BMI less than 20 kilograms per meter squared are at increased risk for premature delivery, low birth weight, infant, and even fetal death in extreme cases. Naturally, the mother will gain weight as the physiological changes start to happen in her body, but it must not be associated with restriction diets or such. So, underweight and overweight women should always consult with their caregivers for further recommendations. And obviously, all pregnant women should always consult. Moving on to variety, maintaining a wide variety of foods is essential for optimal health. And in fact, most healthy women with a well balanced diet will meet the majority of nutrient needs and protein requirements during pregnancy, which is awesome. On water, proper hydration is essential for a healthy pregnancy, and during this period, the recommended amount of water per day will increase by 11%, being around 3 liters of water per day. On energy, the demands will naturally increase during pregnancy, as expected. On vitamin A or retinol toxicity must be avoided at all means because it may be teratogenic, meaning that it may cause birth defects. And finally, substance use should always be avoided during pregnancy because it has devastating and permanent effects on the fetal development. By the way, low birth weight, preterm delivery, and birth defects are some of the consequences associated with substance abuse. Now, if we look at the US data on birth, according to the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics, 8.3% of children born are low weight and 10% are born preterm, which can suggest some correlation with substance abuse, but some factors must also be considered, such as not knowing that she was pregnant and not following their recommendations until she knew. Now, on weight gain and energy needs by stages, looking at the first trimester, we can see that the calorie needs remain relatively constant, and less than 5 pounds is the average weight gain in the whole first trimester. Now, in the second trimester, the calorie needs will increase by 340 calories per day, and around 1 pound per week is the average weight gain. As before was per whole trimester, now is per week. And in the third trimester, the calorie needs will increase by 450 calories per day. Kilocalories, I should say, kilocalories, right? I'm sorry. And around 1 pound per week is the average weight gain as well in the third trimester. So basically, the total weight gain accounts for 40% from fetal tissue, placenta, amniotic fluid, and the other 60% from maternal adipose stores, breast growth, uterine growth, and increased blood and extracellular fluids. The maternal weight gain is an important predictor for health and development. Moving on, regular exercising is highly recommended, but moderate or mild exercising. This not only helps with the common constipation, but also increases the blood flow in the mother's body, which is especially important because of the extra weight gained. Usually, the extremities are swollen and it gets harder to move, so making a regular practice can help immensely. However, it is quite important to make sure the activities are low impact for the body. There are many resources that ensure safe practices, including yoga for pregnant women. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recommends about 150 minutes of aerobic activity spread out per week, or 30 minutes moderate exercise most days per week. Moving on to macronutrients recommendations. So on protein, we'll have a 54% increase during pregnancy, as extra protein is needed to synthesize maternal and fetal tissues. So the RDA for protein is 1.1 gram per kilogram per day. Now, fat, there is a slightly increase in the amount of fat because essential fatty acids needs are increased during pregnancy to support placental development as well as fetal brain formation. And also, the fat storage increases to support breastfeeding. It is very important that the mother does not follow a low-fat diet during pregnancy. In fact, it is recommended by the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics that the pregnant woman does not get less than 10% from fat um, coming from the diet. And finally, carbohydrate, which is the major source of calories. Not only the major food for the mother, but for the fetus as well. However, complex carbohydrates are preferable over simple carbohydrates for a fiber-rich diet, which is crucial for the bowel movement to help prevent constipation and hemorrhoids. Things such as whole grains and legumes are great. Let's take a closer look at red blood cells and nutrition during pregnancy. So, for iron, it's recommended that the daily value increases by 50% during pregnancy, folate as well, and vitamin B12 is increased by 8% during pregnancy. There is an important aspect of the natural increase of maternal blood volume, as it increases about 50%, and as a consequence, it also increases the production of red blood cells. Those three nutrients play a key role in red blood cell production, and they need to be kept within the recommended levels. Moving on to the micronutrients recommendations. So, for vitamins, there is a substantial increase in many of the vitamins, as we can see in the left column. I'll cite some example of food sources for each. Folate, which increases by 50%, is present in dark leafy greens, green veggies, and whole grains. Vitamin B6, which is increased by 46%, is present in starch veggies, non-citrus food, fruits, and meat. Riboflavin, which is increased by 27%, is present in milk, yogurt, seaweed, and almonds. Thiamine, which is increased by 27%, is present in legumes, pork, seafood, and nuts. Pantothenic acid, which is increased by 20%, is present in oats, potatoes, tomatoes, and whole grains. Vitamin C, which is increased by 13%, is present in citrus fruits, berries, kiwi, and leafy greens. Vitamin A, which is increased by 10%, is present in orange vegetables such as sweet potatoes and carrots, and leafy greens. Vitamin B12, which has an 8% increase, is present in fish, meat, poultry, liver, and fortified foods. Moving on to the minerals, we can also see an increase of 50% of iron, which is present in beef, dark leafy greens, and legumes. 47% increase in iodine, which is present in milk, iodized salt, dairy, and seafood. A 38% increase in zinc, which is present in meat, seafood, whole grains, and poultry. a 20% increase in chromium, which is present in broccoli, potatoes, garlic, and fruits, an 11% increase in manganese, which is present in oats, garbanzo beans, and beets, an 11% increase in copper, which is present in nuts, seeds, and organ meats, and a 9% increase in selenium, which is present in Brazil nuts, organ meats, and seafood. Take a closer look in veganism and vegetarianism and pregnancy. There are some potential supplementations that might be needed of B12 as well as iron, which is quite important for the baby's growth and brain development. During pregnancy, the amount of blood in the body increases in the mother. So more iron is needed for the mom and the growing baby. Also, supplementation of calcium during pregnancy, which can reduce the risk of preeclampsia, serious medical conditions that cause a sudden increase in blood pressure. And calcium also builds up the baby's bones and teeth. When a pregnant woman does not consume enough calcium, it will be taken from her bones to the baby. And finally, if there's not enough sun exposure, vitamin D supplements are also recommended for vegetarian moms. In fact, vitamin D supplementation will also help with the calcium to build up the baby's bones and teeth. Every decision matters. Current epigenetic studies are suggesting that there's a heavy association between the maternal nutrient intake during pregnancy and the epigenetic patterns of the offspring at birth. So we can see that life choices during pregnancy can literally affect the DNA of the baby. It's so important. Now, some foods to avoid. High mercury fish. So limit the white albacore tuna to 6 ounces per week, and they should not eat tilefish, shark, swordfish, or king mackerel, which is high in mercury. Caffeine should also be limited and is present in coffee, tea, energy drinks, and even chocolate. Foods that have increased risk of contamination should also be avoided, like mayonnaise and oysters, and unpasteurized foods and drinks as well, such as milk and orange juice. Alcohol and drugs, again, must be avoided at all means. There are some further resources on community nutrition, such as the Special Supplementation Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, the WIC, which provides supplemental foods, nutritional education, breastfeeding promotion and support, referrals, and access to health and social services. The Call Fresh program is for people with low income who meet a federal income eligibility rules and want to add to their budget to put healthy and nutritious foods on the table. The PCN, Perinatal Care Network, will link families eligible for pregnancy-related medical to care, and it works to assure that pregnant women obtain early and continuous prenatal care and other services needed during pregnancy. And finally, the My Plate plan for moms, which shows the food and amounts that are right for the moms during pregnancy. The plan will be personalized based on age, height, weight, physical activity level, and stage of pregnancy. Here are the references I used to do this presentation. Thank you very much for watching.